We got Mike Vasquez on. Mike, good morning, man. Nice to hear from you. How's things going?
Hey, how are you?
Mike.
It's well, the sun's trying to get through the clouds down here, Mike. It's just one of those days. Ugh.
Oh, that's the way it is upstate.
Yeah, that's for sure. So what's on your mind today, Mike? I know Jason said you wanted to get in a couple topics.
I was talking. Are we on here?
Yeah, we're on right now. Yep.
Okay.
You never know around here, Mike. We don't even know if we're on the air half the time, so.
No, I was just listening to the playback about Elias.
Yeah.
No, it was live.
Yeah, we just had her on live. So.
It was live. That wasn't a playback.
So Mike, what's up, man?
It's been a hectic time, but one of the big things I've been working on, besides trying to get some answers out of the White House through some FOIA requests, one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is what's been happening throughout the district, the voter registrations. It's huge.
Yeah. What's going on? I haven't heard anything about this.
Well, there's been a couple of reports out last week, and it's really amazing. Pollsters across the nation are trying to sell the idea that the public just aren't going to show up. Their belief is that while we have some of the highest levels of people being upset with our government at all levels, not only just with the other guys in Congress or our president, but for the first time since 1994, we're seeing that 53% of people across the nation are angry with their own congressman in Congress. I mean, that's rare.
Yeah, that's a pretty big number.
Yeah, and in October 1994, it was only up to 43%. Today it's 51%. So that's huge. And they're saying that because of this, they don't expect people to show up. No one's going to show up. Everyone's upset, but no one's going to show up. And I know, and when I was out, when I was running for Congress, I've spoken to people, and I know they are very upset. And I think these pollsters are wrong, but it's really surprising because when I did the research on this, when I was writing an article about it, I suddenly found out, and I don't think most people know this. In 2010, the midterm elections, New York State ran 48th place out of all states.
Wow.
in voters showing up to vote. The voter turnout in 2012 for the presidential election, New York State was 47th place.
You know, Mike, why do you think that is? Why do you think those numbers are so, appallingly dismal?
Well, because people are... The thing you hear from everyone all the time is, my vote doesn't count. My vote doesn't matter. And what difference is it going to make? Those are the two big things everyone keeps saying.
Yeah, you know, especially in such a blue state like New York, you know, some of the Republicans are just what's the matter if I vote for the other guy and not the Democrat in these national elections?
I can tell the answer to that.
It looks like Mike is back on the phone. Mike Vasquez joining us again. Mike, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you now. You kind of faded out on us. So where were we when we picked up or we left off, Mike?
Okay, I believe we had last said we were talking about the voter registration, voter turnout throughout the state, and we left off on one of the biggest objections people have is, does my vote count?
Right, yes.
Okay. And my point is two parts. One is, let's take a look at what happened here with the New York 22 race.
Yeah.
That was 1,500 votes.
Yep.
1,500 votes. That's almost as small a number as you see in a race out here for anything. And just a few people, a handful of people throughout the 22nd District, which has 700,000 people, could have easily turned that around. Mm-hmm. But looking at it in a bigger way, and the more important thing is, let's look at what's happening when people don't show up to vote.
Yeah.
When people aren't out there voting, then our politicians have no control. They have nothing that's stopping them from doing anything that they want to do. And I'll give you a great example of that, two of them, as a matter of fact. One, we have a governor who's put out a corruption commission that's corrupt.
Yeah.
And if he actually thought that he would be held accountable by the voters, because do you think he would ever do something like that and allow that to happen?
No way.
Because he'd know he'd be voted out. He still might, and he should, for just that reason alone, and he's being investigated for it. But that's one example of it. I'll give you another one that happened down here in Binghamton City. You may have seen this in the news. The Binghamton City Democratic Party put out an email looking for applications for the deputy city clerk. And in there, the job description is a political spy. Literally, they stated in the email that the person who gets the position will be appointed based on their loyalty to the Democratic Party, and they are to spy on City Hall and the legislation that's ongoing and report back to the Democratic Party and the Democratic leadership.
How do people get away with stuff like this, Mike?
Because no one votes.
Because no one cares.
Because you're not
right?
out there voting. Because if you're out there voting, they know they're going to be held accountable to that, and they can't get away with that.
Yeah. So I guess, what do you recommend for people that are maybe sitting around the old dinner table and going through some of the politics, and somebody says, well, it doesn't matter, my vote doesn't matter, doesn't count. What's the message you want to send out to those folks?
Your vote always matters every time, because just by the number of people who are voting, every one of these politicians knows their job is on the line and that someone is paying attention. And if they don't do what their job is supposed to be, if they're doing things like trying to get political spies in office rather than taking care of the job they're elected for, if they see the people out there paying attention by getting out there and voting, they stop doing those things.
Right.
They actually pay attention. They start passing legislation that the people want to see get done. And that's the number one thing. When only 35% of the eligible voters in New York State actually show up and vote, we get our governor doing his corruption, and we see what's happening in the city of Binghamton with Democrats. We can change that.
Mike, here locally in the city, we had our last common council election. We had a common councilor get voted in with just 100 votes. It was just terrible. It was dismal. It was like a 3% turnout for that race. But anyway, Mike, where do they go for all of your latest blogging information?
Sure. You can go to MVAS. It's MVASS.com.
Excellent. Jay's put all those links up there, and this Binghamton story is interesting. It's caught my attention. I'm going to have to look into it. Mike,
thanks.
Yeah,
there's a whole article on it on there as well.
I'll have to check that
all
out.
about it.
Excellent. Mike, thanks for your time today, buddy. I appreciate it. Always good hearing from you.
Always. Thank you,
Mike.
guys.